Her children are and she is a whore.
When every episode is becoming the best episode yet, you know you've hit gold. It's been a 6-year time skip, so let's see where all the characters are at. Rhaenyra's outflanked, Daemon's a tank, Jace pulls a blank, and Luke giggles at the memory of a porcine prank. Otto's biased, Alicent's pious, the Councillor liars, and Viserys' situation grows dire. Aemond's rude, Helena's a mood, and Aegon gets me too'd while lying in the nude. Baela's betrothed to a nerd, Rhaenyra's hair is nesting a bird, Corlys isn't around to call something absurd, but Rhaenys has the final word. What am I doing? What is this? And Joffrey's also here, but Daeron isn't. Or is he?
What happiness it is
to not know the answer! Alright, I need to address the time skip. Inside the episode, Ryan Condal says the kids have been aged up into the 17 to 21 age range. What crevice of his arse did he pull that one from? Alright, so we see 10 years pass between episode 5 and 6, and we know because Viserys tells Lionel that he's been the Hand for 10 years. So let's be generous and say it's not dead on 10 years, it's more like 10.5 years. If it were over half, Viserys probably would have said 11 years, right? This episode is a 6-year time skip. Again, let's be generous and say 6.5 years. So at the very most, 17 years have passed since episode 5. In episode 5, Aegon is 3, maybe 4, so at the very most we can say he's now 21. Helena is 1, maybe 2, which makes her 19 at the most. Aemond and Jace aren't even born yet, so again, at the very most, they're 17. So these characters, at the very most, taking into account that I do not understand numbers, are between 17 and 21. Oh shit, that's what you said in the first place. Well, Lucerys is younger than Jace, so ha, that serves you right, Condal. Rhaenyra and Alicent definitely feel a bit older, especially Alicent when she's rocking the pious look. The strong boys look the right ages, and my god is Joffrey cute. Aegon doesn't really look like his younger self, but considering the actor's 27, I can easily buy him as a 21-year-old. At least one that's been hitting the Dornish red since he was 13. Helena, Baela, and Rhaena, they really kept their names, huh? Are good recasts, and Kristen still refuses to age, apparently, despite being like 40 at this point. But we need to talk about Aemond.
Final tribute.
Look at this absolute Chad. This is not a 17-year-old. He looks like a villain from an anime about the House of Habsburg. He looks like the son of Osferth and Eldriver. My man looks like someone tried to draw Daemon Targaryen from memory. As usual, all of the new actors are fantastic, but Aemond's the standout for me. With his unique features, intense glare, and oddly unsettling voice, Aemond radiates a quietly dangerous energy. He clearly wants to enter the Game of Thrones pantheon of pale, creepy voice inbred-looking dudes that women find hot for reasons not even they understand. Sadly for him, Daemon's reserved the final seat. It's right next to Ramsay's. This is a slow episode with scenes that linger and breathe, an appreciated change of pace after episodes 6 and 7. It's also an episode of little moments that don't need to exist but make the characters feel real, like Otto nodding at Helena reassuringly after her speech. Also, Otto's shitposting during the dinner made me laugh out loud. There's no way that wasn't just Reese fans taking a piss. Of all the episodes so far, this feels like it could be adapted into a play. It's an episode of strong dialogue and interior locations, with relatively little action. The first act of this episode deals with the new status quo in King's Landing. The Greens have centralised power with Viserys addled on milk of the poppy, and Rhaenyra away from the capital. Who could have seen this coming? Alicent has really embraced the fate of the Seven. For her, it's not just a connection to her heritage in Old Town, but a way to manage her anxiety, I think. For Rhaenyra, it's yet another layer of self-righteous bullshit. Honestly, if I were Alicent, I would just disinherit Aegon and push for Aemond to be king. He's a badass warrior who rides the largest dragon, while Aegon is just a lazy, neurotic rapist. To be fair though, maybe Otto and Alicent consider Aegon to be relatively weak and malleable enough to make a good puppet king. Whereas Aemond, I think if Aemond were king, he'd be heavily involved. He probably wouldn't even need a council, he'd just do everything himself. The second act deals with succession.
I must admit my confusion.
I'm a bit confused.
For some reason, Vaemond Velaryon doesn't want his great-nephew to become Lord of Driftmark.
They're white. They got brown hair. Very obvious.
Vaemond's actor is hamming it up, and I love it. He nearly goes too far, but he doesn't. Unlike Vaemond.
I will not see it ended on the account of this bastard.
Apparently Matt Smith pretended to slice Will Johnson's head during rehearsals, so they just decided to kill the actor in the final take. That's crazy. Nice multi-million-dollar production you have there, HBO. It would be a shame if the best scene of the entire season so far was an old man walking towards a chair. Tonight's category is King Baldwin IV of Jerusalem. I'm not one to cry during TV or movies, which is strange because I'm a sensitive dude, but this scene was phenomenal. I'm so happy they let it play out. At the peak of his physical weakness, the king has never been stronger. When the crown drops and Daemon picks it up for him, I teared up for the first time watching this show. The fact that this was inspired by Matt Smith improvising during a rehearsal is crazy, because the symbolism of Daemon helping his brother to the throne and picking up the crown and placing it on his head is perfect. Whew, this is too emotional. Quick, I need some levity. Tyrion, got any cock jokes for us, Tyrion? Mushroom? You coming back, Mushroom? Where'd you go? Wait, hold on, I've got one. I don't understand why Viserys doesn't just pick up his crown. He's got another hand right there. Thank you very much. I do Thursdays at Flea Bottom, thank you. Ah, the feast is here. Wait, they killed the Pink Dread? So are they cutting out the bit in Fire and Blood where he says it's porking time and knocks Aemond off Casterly Rock? What the hell? Oh, shit, book spoilers, sorry. So Viserys decides to completely ruin everyone's appetite. Enjoy the smell, lads. Imagine becoming a badass one-eyed warrior and your dad just steals your look, so embarrassing. I guess Aemond deserves it for stealing Daemon's entire personality and wig. The whole gang is here. Alicent, his wife, Aemond, his second-born son, Otto, his hand and his father-in-law, Aegon and Helena, his firstborn son and son-in-law and second-born daughter and daughter-in-law respectively, Baela and Rhaena, his nieces and first cousins twice removed and soon-to-be first cousins twice removed and granddaughters-in-law, Jason Luke, his grandsons and step-nephews and first cousins twice removed and soon-to-be his first cousins twice removed and nephews-in-law, Daemon, his brother and son-in-law and widow of his first cousin once removed, and finally Rhaenyra, his daughter and sister-in-law and widow of his other first cousin once removed. How come he wanted his whole family at dinner but didn't invite his cousin, or his brother's mother-in-law, or even his daughter's mother-in-law? Admittedly, they're all the same woman, but that's not the point. Where is she? I guess Rhaenys is also soon to be his grandson's grandmother-in-law, and his niece's grandmother-in-law? I'm not sure. But Rhaenyra's new babies are her sons and her cousins.
That much is beyond dispute.
On a serious note, Viserys' speech was deeply moving, and laid the foundation for genuine expressions of admiration and regret from both Alicent and Rhaenyra. Do I believe that the raspy pleas of a dying old husband and father could at least temporarily mend this schism? Absolutely. In their own way, they love Vizzy Tea. The feast is warm and hazy, an enticing distraction from the plots and intrigue and infighting. When Viserys' expression becomes pained, I wonder what's going through his mind. Is it just the agony of his illness? Is he watching Jace and Helena dance and thinking about how different everything would be had they married? By the end of this episode, I wasn't sure if Viserys had found peace in the delusion of a mended family rift, or if the inevitable consequences of his inaction and impending death had finally caught up with him. And I'm still not sure. Although we are teased with a reconciliation between old friends, the truce is not respected by the younger generation. And herein lies perhaps the greatest tragedy of the episode. Parents and grandparents often pass their own fears, resentments, rivalries onto their offspring. Alicent's children and Rhaenyra's children have spent the last 6 years apart, stewing in the cauldron of their family's grudges. At the end of the episode, Viserys dies, for the 5th time this season. I didn't mind the mix-up with Alicent. I generally despise miscommunication as a major plot point, but it makes sense for the both of them. Viserys is dying and isn't lucid. Alicent is hearing what she wants to hear. That's the interpretation I like, at least. Now, the director did say that wasn't the intention of the scene, and that Alicent fully believes Viserys was naming Aegon as his heir, but it's not explicit, so I'll stick with my interpretation. You know what, maybe Hot D has built up so much goodwill that I'm just blind to a goofy scene. If this is what the Prince That Was Promised stuff has been leading up to, well, I didn't expect it. I don't even dislike it. Let's put it to rest now, okay? Speaking of, Viserys finally lets go. Is it just from the exertion of the day, or has he found peace at last? With his genuinely heart-rending but beautiful death scene, we say goodbye to one of the best characters in Hot D, and maybe the Game of Thrones TV universe as a whole. Paddy's performance was incredible. From peeling an egg at a council meeting to strutting down the catwalk in his Phantom of the Opera cosplay, the conflicted monarch that was Viserys Targaryen has been an utter joy to watch. 2 episodes left. The king is dead. Long live... well, that's the question, isn't it? Like and subscribe to see my review next week for episode 9, The Green Council. Feel free to check out my early videos too. See ya.
I will not see it ended on the account of this.